Hey, welcome to the channel. This is Alice with Sage Leaf Studio, and I wanted to bring you along to do a quick, hopefully it's going to be quick, flip through of this journal that I just put together. So the way this happened was I was watching over again parts of the layered journal that I created in the previous video that I did. I was looking back over Natasha's video, and after it was done, it started rolling this other video of hers, and it was a really cool Christmas journal that I thought was fairly new, but it's like from November of last year. So it's like an 8 month old video. So anyway, I don't know, algorithms, that's what I'm going to blame it on. But I thought it was a really cool journal. And she even mentioned, you wouldn't have to make it into a Christmas journal. And I thought, okay, okay. So I had a book that I wanted to, work over. And it's like hers. It's something I think that was, heading to the trash. It's not in horrible shape, but you could tell it hadn't really been read. And anyway, but this is what I ended up with. And it's, again, this one's another intense one. There's a lot to it. So it's several different components go in it and on it. And I used some of her ideas and I created some of my own, and we'll just see what you guys think about it. So anyway, I just tied it up with a ribbon real quick, but I didn't attach it in any way because I don't know, maybe I'm not gonna use that one, but I might because it's pretty. So this is actually sort of some wintry paper that I had, and I thought that that would be real pretty because the book without its cover on is blue. So I just, thought, well, okay, what if we do sort of a blue theme? And again, it's not Christmas, but there is this paper that's kind of got a little bit of a wintry vibe to it. It kind of looks like there's berries, and then there's, kind of little snowy, silvery things and poinsettias, sorta, and, other flowers too. So, anyway, that's how it kind of began. So I covered, just glued pieces from this paper onto the back and the spine and the front, and put a little bit of kind of grungied up lace, and did the thing with the string left over from other parts of the book, and a little old piece of denim that I had, and a little heart that's all stuck together, and just there on the front. And I put a little tag down here, and just one of my printed out made up sayings, and this one just simply says own your dreams. So it can mean anything, whatever you want it to mean. Anyway, so when you flip it open, and the inside is really pretty, so I didn't want to really mess with the insides, the papers that were already part of it too much, because I just thought they looked really good. But I did add this card. This was I think it was a thank you note from somebody, and I created a tuck pocket out of it and just stuck just a tag. Didn't even put a hole or anything, a string or anything in it. It's actually from the Stamperia. I forget what it's called. Maybe like Fantastic Voyage or something like that. But it's one that's got a lot of. It had a lot of blue in it, and that's kind of why I chose it. And I've used a couple other little pieces you'll see here in a minute throughout, but um, and it's got a lot of steampunk looking stuff that goes with it. So that's always interesting. So there is that. So anyway, so like Natasha, I took my pages and took like 10 pages at a time and punched holes in them. And then I just used some embroidery thread to do that a blanket stitch just to hold each grouping together. So it's not like it's not really like a signature because you're not utilizing all these pages. You're just utilizing one side and the other. Now, that said, they are open on the top and at the bottom. So if you wanted to tuck something in there, you could. I suppose you could, stick a paper clip down at the bottom to hold it together, or you could, get in there with your glue and just kind of glue the bottoms together, and then you have a whole ton of pockets for, sticking stuff inside. But I didn't do any of that. But, whoever ends up with this might want to do that. So there's, printed words in there. Anyway, this is a cool page that I had from a calendar that I've talked about using in my previous video with the layered journal. And then I just kind of started. So I'm still trying to figure out my new sewing machine and if I like it or not. But I did some sewing on some card, some lighter weight cardstock. I wouldn't say that it's like, I don't think it's like, it might be 60 pound. I don't know. It's not heavy duty, but it's sturdy. So anyway, just, created some space for writing because I do want it to be writing. I also did add some jump rings, just some small ones. I was going to put them in here in the holes. I think that's how Natasha did it. But I don't think I have any that big. I think I have maybe one that's a little bit bigger than this size. But I don't know. Anyway, I just decided, you know what, they're just lightweight. And I may put a couple little baubles here and there to finish it off on a couple of them. But anyway, they're just attached to the string part, so the thread. So anyway, there's that. And there's one of those little guys there. Okay, and this was also part of that set, that Stamperia set. I never know how to say that. I don't know. I hear people say it all different ways when I'm watching videos, so I don't know. But anyway, so, and this is just some tea stained, this is notebook paper. So anyway, just glued that stuff down. You can see some of the words underneath, and I don't care. More of the same of the paper. This is a calendar piece with a pretty bird on it. Trying to kind of stay a little bit monochromatic, I guess. I don't know if it's monochromatic, but in hues of blue, white, off-white, gray, just sort of trying to stay in that vein of color. So hopefully it, goes to somebody who loves blue and makes it their Hues of Blues journal. I don't know. They can make it whatever they want. Anyway, had a little butterfly I thought I'd glue down there. This was just sort of some leftover pieces that I had of the notebook paper, and I just thought, well, I'll just glue them together and they can be part of that. I thought about making this a little tuck, but I don't know. I think it'd be hard to get something to stay in there, so it's just glued down. It's from another piece that I used further in, and it's just the leftover piece for that. So anyway, more of this. This is that marbled resume paper that I've used recently. This is a beautiful Audubon plate 233. The Florida J, and they're just, the colors are so vibrant. So I glued that down. And so here's where the fun begins. So the center, I didn't do as many pages as Natasha did in hers. I think I have 20. Do I have 20? I think so. I think there's 10 and 10. 10 on one side and 10 on the other. And then the center of the book is basically right here. So anyway, that being said, this is where the pages get folded down and they create pockets. So on this page, I had this kind of, it's like make your own card kit, and it came with this really beautiful blue card, and you'll see the other pieces to this as we go along, but this was just like filigree looking stuff. So anyway, I like that. I did use some beads on paper clips, not on every page. I did have it set up that way, and I just felt like it was too much for this. So if you want to do that, that's great. Go for it. It's stunning. I mean, it's definitely, makes a statement, but I was just having a lot of trouble just, it was just getting so bulky and everything. So anyway, and I actually, this piece of paper, I folded over. I didn't do that very often. Maybe that's the only time I did it, but I folded it over, but I didn't make it a tuck pocket. I could have, glued it and made it to where you could tuck, but there's already a tuck pocket right here. So, it's fine. What's interesting is this little piece that I thought was pretty. I just stuck it down here to kind of cover up some of the words. And we've got that blank there, but it's part of this image. So this was like a little wintry little bluebird guy. And so this actually did land below. It might have been a little further up on the image, but anyway, it's cute. And I thought that was cool that they were together in the same area. And then just, did sort of just a little image here. It's just a little sticker. Trying not to get too crazy with the colors because I do have some things that are pretty colorful. So anyway, so I just grabbed, and I had some purples and blues and different things that I thought might be interesting to kind of keep with this set, and used some paper, some card that I had that was double-sided, and some of them I embellished and some I didn't, but these are the ones that can go upwards in the tuck pocket that goes upwards. This is that other that piece of paper that I did that little, where'd it go? That little guy. Where's that little? There it is, right there. Anyway, I had to cut off some of it right here so that wouldn't, cover over. But anyway, made a little, just a little journal-ish type situation inside. Just grabbed some of I was really trying to use up some extra, papers, scraps that I had left over from doing some of the other stuff. So I just stapled it together and then glued this flap down to this page. So it's just a little booklet within the booklet. So I like that. And I did utilize some more of these beautiful, I guess we'll call them craft papers. So that's there. This is actually part of a birthday card that I had for some reason. It wasn't used yet. Anyway, I cut it up. More of same. That's just another little tuck. More of same. Another one of those. A blue one. More of that. I did leave some areas where if anybody, wants to add whatever they want or wants to read it. This is actually, the book is Armistead Maupin's Sure of You? Is it called Sure of You? Maybe. Anyway, it's one of his later books. So he wrote Tale of the City, not Tale of Two Cities, Tale of the City, and all the ones that came after that. So anyway, so there's like right here, you can see something on phone sex. Okay, so kind of some controversial stuff in there. So hopefully it's not going to offend anybody. If they don't like it, move on or cover it up, because I did cover up some things. Anyway, more of this paper, and I just, got a template going and just cut them all the same. So they either, depending on what they were, these, since they had printing, had to be a certain way, but these didn't. These could be turned and flipped and, turned upside down and right side up and everything. More trying to use up scraps. So this is somewhere that somebody could be writing something. Okay, so we're in the center of the book at this point. So because I've got my paper clip bookmark in the center, and I just decided to use some of the wax string and a larger paper clip, silver one, And then just use some silvery and I don't know, I guess it almost looks like marcasite, these littler beads. But anyway, just and did a couple of silver baubles there. So anyway, that's our bookmark for now, or at least, one of them. So it's there. And see, now we're heading this way. So this works here because the writing is going that way. And these are blank on the back. So, somebody can write on that side too if they want, or only on that side if they want. This is just a little, might be like a little, I don't think it's Tim Holtz, but it's something similar. But I've had that for a long time. So I thought, you know what? It's got a blue hue to it. It's going in here. So that, more card, another little guy here, more card, same, 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 but in different hues. So see how, there's different, there's dark and lighter of the purples. Anyway, so here's the other side of that card. So I just cut it up and used it over here. This was actually left over from my previous project. And see, these little things actually help, even though these cards are in here pretty sturdily and they're hanging on. Like, they're just not going to just fall out because they're a little bit porous, if you will. So they have drag. So they stay in pretty well. But if you have something that you do clip in here that you're unsure of, you can always just kind of help it with one of those paper clips. So there's that. This was just another one. I had a little stamp from France. And so that got to go live there. Okay, so this is a little tuck pocket that I made. And this is more of that card that had the filigree looking stuff. So I thought, well, okay, we're just going to make it a little, like a bookmark or a tag or something. And I just added some beads. And so for this, I went with pearly, silvery, blue stuff. So just to kind of tie in those colors, trying to make sure it's, blue. And then more of the sewn paper, cardstock, more stuff. Kind of made a little collage. Do what you love. Just trying to use up some stuff. This was a little, I don't know where this came from. The Audubon Society? No, something. Anyway, little sets of cards, greeting cards, and I just thought that was beautiful. So it became part of this. It covered up some printing behind it, and now you can, you've got two places to journal. And then this was one of the leftover pieces from covering the front and the back and the spine. This piece ended up being a belly band. So more cardstock. Just kind of made it kind of pretty with little corner cuts. And it lives right there. And then we come over here and there's more. It seems crooked to me, but I think it's because of the angle that I'm looking at the page. Anyway, that's for later. But this was another piece of that calendar I keep talking about. And I just made sort of a little tuck band right there. This is, so it's got calendar on the back from December of 2020. That was a crazy year. But, oh, look, I don't have the 25th. It's right over in here somewhere. So Christmas isn't mentioned in there, but there's winter solstice. But anyway, you can just use it to write on, or whatever. Do whatever. Do whatever you want. And then, so over here is the final little piece left over from, it was a 12 by 12 paper. What do you call it? Scrapbook paper. Hello. And this is the final piece, and I made a little tuck pocket there, and I did utilize another piece of that Fantastic Voyage paper set. So I just made it's just a little rectangle. I'm not saying it's a tag. It doesn't have a hole in it. It's not cut like a tag. It can be whatever you want. And then this is, you may have noticed my Frosted Flakes box laying over here. I thought I was going to make a bunch of, small tags. So I cut that guy up, but I ended up only using one piece. See, this is the same as this right there. Basically, I guess I cut it down a little bit more. But anyway, so I just covered it with some paper, some of that paper. And then this is actually left over from, again, my previous project. Because I like to use, the same things over and over again if I can and use them up. But this is wallpaper from the dollar store. So I just gave it a little bit of string and twine. So anyway, and then just kind of a more of a collage-y page that can be written on. Nothing here, because why not leave it blank and let somebody write in it if they want to. So, and then we're back to the back cover, and I did make a little tag. So let's take this out for a minute. So this is just one of those, folded envelope papers where I just sort of tucked, folded, tucked. I only had to glue just a little, just down here, this guy tucked into this guy, and I just glued it down just on the sides and the bottom so that it's got a tuck pocket back here. And here's some more of that blue. I just thought that was so pretty. And see, it sort of matches, but it also kind of contrasts because it's kind of got a gloss to it. Anyway, but I made that little tag, and he lives, so see how it made because I didn't go all the way up, you can see that there's another little pocket right in there. This is my business card, which I don't really use very often, but I thought, well, I'll tuck it in there because maybe I might sell this. I don't know. And then I had this little, I don't know, I thought it was a sticker, and I was trying really hard to peel it, and like, it's not a sticker. Stop trying to peel it. So anyway, but I thought it was cute. So I thought, well, I'll just tuck it in here and put a little label there. Somebody could write something. They could write their name, do whatever they want. So anyway, but that's how this whole thing came about. And it's, it's kind of chunky, but it's not bad. And I don't know, I was just trying to leave, not trying to cover everything up, because maybe somebody else wants to do some more stuff to it. I would not call it finished, but I don't want to just cover every last bit of it and say, okay, this is what you have to do with it. This way it kind of gives anybody who ends up with it leeway to do whatever they want or not, or, use every inch of, anywhere that you can see to write, do it, or add art to it, or tear a page out if you hate it. At first I was kind of like, I think this was the first thing I put in, and at first I was like, oh my God, I don't know. Is it too bright? And I thought about just tearing that page out, and I thought, no, you know what? I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. It can just live there and be happy. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with this, and I'm not doing a tutorial because I don't know if I'll make another one. I might do a Christmas one, but I'm not sure. Natasha was talking about, she didn't think she was going to be happy because it was bright red and bright green. And some people were like, well, you could use other colors like blue, which I could have made this really kind of Christmassy. And I mean, blues are used a lot in Christmas decor too. So, but I probably would do the red and green if I do a Christmas one, but it'll probably be more kind of that older, deeper reds and kind of a more muted green, not bright green, but like a jewel tone, deeper green. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a little bit of time before Christmas, so maybe I'll make that up. And if I do, then I'll do a little video and kind of bring you along and see how it progresses and everything. But anyway, I just thought this was fun. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I wanted to show you because I always marvel at how much stuff I have left over. And this is, there's my arm, but this is like my pile of, bits and pieces from tearing and cutting. And, it's some of the notebook paper, it's some of the copy paper. This is, from one of those calendars with the birds. This, I don't remember what this was. Oh, this had to do with something else that I made for it. Look, I still have a piece of this left over, so that could certainly become another tag for another project. This was a bunch of this. Seems like I probably could have not had to use one last page, but it got cut up. So anyway, that's okay. And then all my little corner bits that I cut off, and I thought about putting them like in various places because there's so many angles in the book, like I did with that one. But I thought, well, I could, stick one here and stick something there, and just all the different things, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I didn't want to junk it up that much. So anyway, there it goes. But this was my pile, and it will sit here for maybe a day or two. And I might use some of that stuff in the next project, who knows, or it'll just go into storage and come out another day to become something else. So there it is. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that. And again, kudos to Natasha for coming up with such a cool thing. And I hope you like this one, and you're certainly welcome to comment and give me any suggestions. And don't forget to like the video if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. So anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.